my name is Zachariah. Welcome back to another episode of Pitch or Die. You guys seem to like this show, so I'm back again doing it. What's Pitch or Die? Real quick, I pitch you a video game, a fantasy video game. I'm going to tell you what the video game is, what the developer is, and this is based on criteria either given to me by the comments by yourselves or what I'm feeling by that week. It could be a genre, could be a franchise, could be whatever you guys want to see me pitch. I'm going to pitch to you the game, the developer, what it's going to look like, and then you guys get to jump in the comments and tell me whether it died or it's a good pitch. It's up to you guys. So, what are we pitching today? Well, we'll get to that, but I read comments on this show, so we're going to get into that first. All right, so you guys were very active on this one. Last week I pitched Castlevania, the MMO, 2D MMO, and here's what you guys said about it. First, we had William Ho Uin, good friend of the show, friend of the channel from the podcast, says, "Ever heard of Maple Story? Isn't that far from? Isn't that far from that?" Parentheses. Well, aesthetically it is far, but you know, it's a 2D side-scroller MMO. Anyway, great pitch. Would play it for sure. Thank you, Will. I appreciate it. I did want to just say that I did think about using the developer of Maple Story for that game. I ended up going with Motion Twin for the aesthetic and the action. I just think Maple Story is a little bit too cute to be represented, for that company to represent Castlevania, but it's definitely right in the vein. Then we had Terry Shakespeare jumping in. T-Shakes! He says, "This is really cool idea. Every gamer has had a pitch for a game in their head. Here's one for you. Shinobi, that's a stealth game like Tenchu. It's probably wank, though. And I told him I'm going to pitch the hell out of that thing. So guess what, guys? Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? I'm going to go ahead and bring up the image. Boom! We're doing Shinobi. And this was a really tough one, way tougher than I thought after I got into the deep dive. And then we had one other comment to our Discord. If I can find it real quick. Sorry, should be more prepared. And that is Hoffman. He has been on the channel before. Hufflepuff on Discord says, "I love everything about Pitch or Die. For your information, completely up a design standpoint for discussion." Thank you very much for all those comments, guys. But comments out of the way, let's go ahead and get into today's pitch. All right, so first I got to talk about the research I had to do on this. Now, Terry Shakespeare specifically said he wanted a stealth game, kind of like Tenchu. But Shinobi, it's at odds with that. I did a huge Wikipedia search on all the Shinobi games created, even back in the 80s, all the way up until the PlayStation 2 remake kind of remaster third-person thing. And every single one of them have been hack-and-slash action games, or even you could call them shooters, because the main character's main mode of attack is hurling either shurikens or knives. So this immediately became a tough pitch for me, because how do you not alienate the true diehard Shinobi fan base who want to see, the frenetic action of the originals, while also creating a stealth game and bringing a little bit more realism to it. So that was the real challenge of this, and honestly, I don't know if I pulled it off, but that's in you guys' hands, really. All right, so that brings us to developer. What developer did I choose to represent Shinobi in the new era, to bring this game to night and to possibly give it some new life? And honestly, I really considered Ghost of Tsushima creator Sucker Punch on this one, because they have spot on katana and Japanese sword fighting mechanics, coupled with the stealth and whatnot. However, again, that is the more realistic part, and we still want to honor that frenetic action origin for this game. So I got a little crazy with it, and I decided to go with Insomniac Games. They created, basically because they created Sunset Overdrive, and I'm not a huge Sunset Overdrive fan. They also created Spider-Man and are basically a PlayStation exclusive company. So I don't actually play a lot of their games anymore, but with that being said, one thing they do is they do frenetic action incredibly well. They do a third-person perspective incredibly well. And while they're a little bit untested in swordplay, I don't think this game is going to be about swordplay. I don't think it can be if you want to make everybody happy. So let's get into the pitch. All right, first, what's the story? Well, the original games are all about a guy named Joe Miyamoto who becomes a ninja and then ends up having to face a ninja clan who is attempting to destroy the political systems of Japan and return them to the Sengoku warrior kind of warrior states time. That's basically the plot of Shinobi. Very simple through plot. I mean, the sequels all have some little twist. Usually it's a girl kidnapped, his girlfriend's kidnapped, or something else. But it's always the Zed Corporation coming back, giving itself a new nomenclature before it, and then, running amok. Even the PlayStation remake, we did have a different main character. I believe his name was Hatsumoro, but Joe is still referenced in that game, and is still a huge part of the lore. So let's do this the right way, and let's reboot this franchise. Let's start it from the beginning. Let's redo Shinobi. Joe Miyamoto is our main character, and he is the ninja. Let's go through his story, going to the dojo, learning ninjutsu from the ninja warriors. You can even give him a backstory where he's maybe half American, kind of finding his roots again in Japan. You could really do some nice culture shock stuff while also jumping into the action. And then as far as the story goes, we just continue from there. The Zed Corporation, right off the bat from the start, trying to destroy the political systems of Japan. And let's face it, even nowadays, evil cults and companies destroying political systems is kind of topical. I mean, happening everywhere, including in Japan. So there's a lot of things you could play off on that with the story and build it into a much more modern narrative. But we got to get into the meat and potatoes of this, and this is the gameplay. Okay, so first of all, I think we should add a stealth element, but it needs to fit with that aesthetic, that fast, phonetic, star-throwing gameplay. So first of all, what I would do is I would make kind of an open world where you go to certain areas, and that jumps you into a map where you face foes or do certain things. I'd have those individual little missions have submissions, such as one is, stealth based, another might be more combat heavy. You're trying to rescue key political assets to fight the Zed Corporation or take down big generals in the Zed Corporation. Stuff like that. Almost kind of an Assassin's Creed-y feel, but I don't want you to think Assassin's Creed on this because the action isn't going to be like that. What I'd like to do with the stealth is I'd like it to be about connecting the stealth attacks at incredibly fast pace. So you need to get to that first person, but not just that first person. You need to set up a perfect series of circumstances so that you can link kills one to another and create just huge stealth chains. Basically, so like you would basically be above a guy and you'd wait for him to get just close enough to another guy, and then you'd unlock certain moves that would make that easier. So you would drop on the first guy, kill him, then immediately bounce off a wall to get the space to the next guy to kill him, into a forward flip to kill another person. You see what I'm saying here? So it would be quick, phonetic, stealth kill action on that front. And when the battles break down, it gets even more interesting. Sure, you can use your katana for a few combo swipes, but this is not going to be about swordplay. That's not what the ninjutsu is, and that's not what Shinobi was about. Shinobi was about ranged shuriken or kunai knives being hurled at an opponent. So what I want it to be very key in this is about teleportation, kind of that ninja drop a smoke bomb, jump to another place. You can use this to get possibly out of the range, to possibly set up another stealth attack chain, or you can use this to just get some distance and hurl some more shurikens or knives, because that's what it's all about. I want this game's combat should be about movement in one form or another, whether it's moving to get in the right position to get around a person, then moving from kill to kill to kill, or movement in combat to get out of melee combat. And that's what we'll do. There will be a progression system in the backs behind the scenes. It will be a full progression system, which usually I do builds, but this is not going to be a build sort of game. And you'll unlock different moves and chains to string together to make your stealth combos more deadly and to also get you in and out of combat faster. Unlocking more deadly attacks with your knives and whatnot like that. Even different poisons that could possibly make your opponents, when struck with the kunai knives, fight other opponents, or possibly just give them damage over time, or even unlock bombs for area of effect damage, stuff like that. That's what this game is going to be all about in the combat area. But hey guys, I'm out of time. That's Pitch or Die episode 2. And man, this was a tough one. I had to put a lot of work in, had to read a lot of Wikipedia pages. And even here, I feel like I stumbled a little bit. But you guys let me know what you think. Did I pitch it good? Or does this thing die on the table before it ever makes light? You guys let me know in the comments below. I will read them. And anything you want to suggest for me to pitch, I'll try and make that happen. I made this one happen, and it was a tough one. So please give me suggestions before. You could just suggest genre, you could suggest franchise, you could suggest certain games done by certain developers, whatever you want to do, and I'll try and make it happen. Other than that, you can reach us on Facebook at OldManGamingDH, on Twitter at OldManGaming9. You can join our Discord, links in the description below. You can influence this and all of our shows from there. And ladies and gentlemen, as long as you keep watching and listening, we'll keep making it. See you next pitch.